Hi, everybody. Here I am from my home office, which I just remodeled 2 weeks ago, just in time apparently. I'm also home, in case you didn't know that. So it sucks, but it is what it is. And, all we can do is work through it and move on. So for class, what it means is we're going to do things in a little bit different order. We're going to skip over chapters 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Those chapters are primarily hands-on care or have a lot of hands-on care in them. So since we're not going to be together for 2 weeks, I don't see any sense in really going through that stuff. So if you've already finished your stuff for chapter 10, which I hope you have because it was actually due tomorrow, just put it aside and hold on to it. You'll have it done when we come back to it. So we are skipping ahead to chapter 15, which is the gastrointestinal chapter. GI 15 chapters 15. Let me start over. Chapters 15 through 24 are basically anatomy and physiology. So you all know that biology is sort of the study of the human body, okay? Or organisms, I should say, all forms of life. So anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is human form, and physiology is human function. So chapters 15 through 24 are all basically body systems, anatomy and physiology. So we can do those from home a little easier. They're a little harder chapters because of the vocab, but we can do those from home really easily. And when we're coming back to 10 through 14, I'll get back to you on that. I don't really know. I'm hoping maybe the week of the 16th. My goal is for us to do this chapter, chapter 15, the week of the 26th through the 30th. And then the week of the 2nd through the 6th, we would do chapter 16, and then we'll be back together on November 9th. And that week, we will go back over chapters 15 and 16, go through the workbooks, kind of touch the stuff that, we get to touch in this chapter. And then we'll talk from there when we're starting our clinicals back up that we never got started, that kind of thing. So it stinks, but it is what it is. And so moving on, let's talk about chapter 15 real quick. So chapter 15 is as I said, the gastrointestinal system. The gastrointestinal system, or the GI tract, starts with the mouth. Okay, digestion, really begins here. So as we chew and we break up our food, it is mixed with saliva. And saliva is a digestive enzyme. So food starts in the mouth. It's moved by the tongue. The salivary glands or the saliva glands secrete saliva. You chew it into your food. It goes through the throat or the pharynx, down the esophagus, and into the stomach. And from there, it moves through the rest of the digestive tract. So what we call the movement of the digestive tract, the digestive tract has muscles all along it that are involuntary muscles. They do their own thing, okay? It's called peristalsis. Peristalsis, and looks like I'm freezing on the video. I don't know why, but peristalsis is how food moves through, okay, our system. So as you're looking at this, we're going to talk about ingestion, digestion, and elimination in this chapter. So some issues that our residents have in digestion is, number one, sometimes their teeth aren't great, and so they have difficulty breaking up their food. They also take medications that reduce the amount of saliva. It kind of gives them dry mouth, and so that can affect their digestion. In addition, they're not as active, so things aren't moving as much. Okay, that peristalsis is slower. So those are all things that our residents deal with on a day-to-day basis. So as CNAs, it's our responsibility to kind of keep track of that, to know and document when our residents have bowel movements, to assist our residents in eating if that means cutting their food up smaller or adding more moisture to it, like a gravy or a sauce or something like that, then that's our job, okay? So read through the chapter. On page 278, you're going to find some pictures of bedpans in there. There's a fracture pan and a regular pan. Those, we have those in the classroom, and we will be touching those, putting people, okay. Let's see, page 280, there's a picture of a urinal. A urinal is for a male for urinary elimination, and we have one of those, and we'll look at that as well. Page 282, there's a picture of bedside commodes. A bedside commode basically is a potty chair for adults. We set them next to the bed. If someone, say, for example, is non-weight bearing on one foot, we can do what's called a pivot transfer. Because we skipped chapter 11, we don't know what a pivot transfer is yet, but you will. So pivot transfer basically is the person puts all their weight on one foot. We stand them up, we spin them, we sit them down. Works great. The bedside commode works great for something like that. So this chapter also talks about disorders of the system, which include, things like heartburn, GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease, ulcers, gallbladder disorders, ulcerative colitis, liver cirrhosis, Crohn's disease. Flatulence is a fancy term for gas, okay? And it goes through all that. Constipation, diarrhea. When it gets to the enema on page 287, just read through that information. It's not something that you do as a CNA in Illinois. But you still, on page 291, in the middle of the page, there are a couple pictures, or a picture there of a couple things. The thing on the left is a hat. It's called a hat, nun's cap. It's in our classroom as well that we'll touch, and I'll show you how it works. That's great for collecting stool samples or urine samples for people that can sit on the toilet. Then on 293, it talks about getting a stool sample for occult blood. The term occult is super important for you to know. Occult means you can't see it. So someone who has occult blood in their stool or in their BM, you can't see it. Okay. Let's see. Moving on, talking about colostomies. So a colostomy is where maybe you've had rectal cancer or lower colon cancer. So they remove part of your colon and they attach your colon to the outside of your body through a hole. Okay. Picture figure 1519 on page 294 is a picture of two different types of colostomy bags. At the bottom of that picture, there are wafers. And what a wafer is it sticks to the skin, and the ostomy, which is like a hole. I'll show you on Manny when we get back into class what it looks like. That goes over that hole, and then it has like a lid, like a plastic lid edge on it, and you can attach the bag right to it. So in some facilities, CNAs take care of ostomies. In other facilities, the nurses do. Sometimes residents, prefer to take care of it themselves. So read this chapter, review the vocabulary words very carefully, and do the chapter review questions. I'm working on getting the worksheet loaded right now, and hopefully, everyone is well, and it'll be okay. I promise. Have a good day. Have a good week. And I'll try and send you a message throughout. And